What on earth am I doing?
Mwah, 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 mwah.
I've been at work too long. Hello, guys. Welcome to Geeks and Gaijins. I'm the Gaijin John.
I'm the Geek Tom, and I respect John for his efforts.
I will say, I have been at work all day doing nothing, which I'm sure is a lot of people's dreams. I've sat at my desk all day, like, attempting to learn Japanese. And do you know what is worse?
No, I've no idea.
Today, the school is marking the entrance tests for all the junior high school students who want to come to my school. And I can't get involved in that because my contract says I'm not allowed. And so I'm just sitting in my desk in an empty office, and they took the water boilers.
No!
I can't even make myself a cup of tea, Thomas.
Oh, no! How could they?
I opened up one of my tea bags, I put it in my cup, I walked over to where the water coolers usually are. No. I just have a sad, dry tea bag. I'm just like, no! What can I do? No!
Don't they know they can't deprive an Englishman of his tea? That's cruel. It's unusual.
It's both cruel and unusual. Don't think I deserve it. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. This is Geeks and Gaijins, where we look at culture from both me being in Japan in the East.
And me sitting at home in England because I haven't got a job teaching Japanese kids English.
I know. That would be a bit disturbing if that was both of us. It's like, what did you do? The same thing that you did.
What are we going to do today, Brain?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to teach Japanese kids English.
Oh, yay.
We've really gone downhill. Yeah, I know. The money ran out for this show years ago.
Which is surprising because we only started recording like 6 months ago.
Exactly. Yay!
We are very bad at budgeting.
Yes. Where's the money? You were getting paid?
Anyway, so back on course. What have we got to talk about today, John?
As of day of recording, it is International Women's Day. Yay!
Woot!
And who better to talk about it than two straight white men?
You got it. How do the Japanese respond to International Women's Day, by the way, John? Is it really a thing over there?
They do it the same way they do with most Western things. They ignore the hell out of it. Well, I tell a lie because I've been alone all day and gone slightly mad. So therefore, I didn't have an opportunity to ask my teachers about International Women's Day. I was too busy attempting to remember what the word for read is. It's yomu.
Nice.
I thought with the time I had today that I would look up some women who are involved in the animation industry, because Japan is so famous for anime and manga, but almost the majority of the people involved in that is men, because Japan is still a very patriarchal society. So I thought it time to shout out what some of your favourite things might be made by women.
Goodness. Women in my anime? It's more likely than you think.
It's not even women in your anime, it's women animating your anime. Because they don't even have to be voice actors, Thomas. They can do the other thing.
Quick shout out to all the female voice actors in anime, because my goodness, they make you do some crazy stuff. And you're all very good at it. Yeah,
they're all so goddamn good at it. They're all part of the Japanese entertainment industry, which I'm sure we'll get into in a later episode.
Oh, God.
It's a machine. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. You are a product. It's rather terrifying, actually, but there we are.
Hollywood, is that you?
Shinzo Abe, is that you?
No, he's staying at home today. He's not getting involved.
Nah, he's got a country to run.
He's been working too hard getting things wrong.
Yeah, he's
very tired.
They've been doing vaguely all right this week. It's going all right. Japan isn't so bad. We've not fallen apart yet. Indeed, International Women's Day. Yay! There is a very famous woman who is one of the first female Japanese animators ever, and you've probably not heard about her. Her name was, sadly, because she is no longer with us, was Okuyama Reiko, and she was a Japanese animator, mostly at Toei Animation, which is very famous for just so many things. They're famous for Dragon Ball, Gege no Kitaro, Sailor Moon, Digimon. They made so many things, and she was their lead animator during a part of the 1970s. She originally applied for a job there thinking they were publishers of children's books.
She did very well.
No, her drawing skills were so good, she essentially got hired as what they call an in-betweener, essentially where you draw the bits in between the main scenes. So you don't draw the key frames, you draw the frames between it. You draw the movement frames.
Interesting.
And she managed to overcome some serious stuff because she started working there in the 50s.
Yeah, that's impressive.
This is 50s Japan. But no, and she ended up becoming their lead animator and also working on such things as Grave of the Fireflies. There are even parts of Japanese teledramas that is based on her life. So essentially, there was a television drama last year called Natsuzora, which is loosely based upon her life.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and it has 156 episodes. Wow. They are only 15 minutes long, but...
That's still a substantial number of episodes. That's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And her husband is also a famous animator as well, who worked on the Super Mario series and worked at Nintendo for a long time. She's one of like the original women in the Japanese anime scene, and I think it's really nice that more people could know about her. And also just talking about current women in anime, because it's always good to support, especially in a medium that is so dominated by men. You have no idea. Japan is still a very patriarchal society, and it's almost just now changing that women are being less expected to not immediately just marry someone and get a job. Marry someone and get a job. Not expected to marry someone and just have children. But no, there's a really famous anime producer and director at the moment called Saya Yamamoto. She's directed Attack on Titan, Psychopaths, episodes more. She's going to be the lead series director on Yuri on Ice, season 4. And she also directed a Lupin the Third spin-off about Fujiko, who is the main female character in Lupin the Third.
Dope.
And along with her, it's also Atsuko Ishizuka, who has done many animations and directing in the Kurozuka series, in the Supernatural, the animation series, Sakura-so no Pet no Kanojo, No Game No Life, and just more things. There are some great female directors, and it's very difficult to find information about this, obviously, in English, because this is not a big thing that English people are interested in. But I think it's something we should look more at and just support in all mediums. Support female directors, support female animators and actors, because they give us some really great stuff. Especially one of the most recent writers, Thomas. You watched her series, but I personally didn't. But O Maidens in Your Savage Season.
Yeah, written by Mari Okado. I think also worked on the manga that went along with it. She's a scriptwriter and series composer who's worked on a whole bunch of things such as like Anno Hana, The Original Fate, Stay Night, Pet Girl Sakuroso, and Toradora. So she's been part of some really important anime series in recent years.
And sadly, O Maidens in Your Savage Season, despite really good reviews, did not do very well.
It was always going to be a niche show because it was a high school comedy drama centered around 5 high school girls undergoing the experience of not puberty, more becoming aware of sex and relationships and things like that, which is a very personal experience and perhaps not something that's easily marketable to a broader audience, especially when, much like the production staff of anime, a lot of the audience is still fairly male majority.
Yes, exactly.
It was still a really good show, and I had a lot of fun with it, though. So if you're feeling like watching something a little bit like that, that's good. Also, shout out to Kyoto Animation, who have done a really good job of hiring lots of female artists and creators in recent years. And you can see the fruits of that by just seeing how the diverse stories that they're able to tell by using a more balanced gender representation in their staff.
Yay! International Women's Day. So now our main segment, which I mentioned partly earlier, which is why I'm in such a strange mood today, is it's that time of year, boys and girls. What is it? It's school entrance exams. Yay!
Oh boy.
So, for those who don't know, the Japanese school system is a lot like the American school system because of the Second World War. But essentially, you have an elementary school that's for the first 6 years of school. Then you have a junior high school that's 3 years of school. And then you have a senior high school, which is 3 years of school, which is very different to the UK, where we have 752, whereas theirs is 633, or I've seen it referred to online. But the thing is, only, as they call it, elementary and junior high school are paid for by the state. High school is optional. It is not compulsory. That's how English works. And so you need to pay tuition, but you also need to pass an exam to go to the public ones. However, it gets a bit complicated. It's a bit complicated.
How so, John?
Well, first of all, you need to take a test.
Obviously. Tests are important.
But there is no thing like in the UK, and I'm focusing this on UK listeners because that's the only country I've had experience being educated in. There is no universal test. There is no test that's just countrywide. So UK at the age of 15, 16, we take GCSEs, which then see if we can get into sixth form college with those, or which is usually part of the same school. Here they are slightly younger. They're 15-year-olds. And it's just wondering. And so they only take one test to get into one specific school. And they all happen on the same day. So you can't take multiple public school tests for they call them public high schools. They're the ones that the government subsidize, essentially. There's one of the ones that I work in as well. However, you can't take multiple tests. You can only take tests to get into one. And if you don't get in, tough potatoes.
You don't get a chance to go to another public high school after that.
No, you can only take one test. And usually not everything is reliant on the test. So sometimes it's weighted between a test, an interview, so a personal interview you have with the teachers of the school, and your junior high school grades. So depending on the different, what the different schools choose, you can do that. There are also different schools have different ways of doing things. So if a school is particularly famous for music, if you're a really good music student, they will do like not scholarships because you still have to pay tuition, but you essentially get to bypass the exam if you're a good student in the area that school excels in.
A little bit like an unconditional offer then.
Kind of, yes. It feels very university kind of light-ish. There are multiple high schools in all cities, and they also do different things. So you have commercial-focused high schools, which focus on going into business. You have agrarian-focused high schools, which focus on what it sounds like, farming. You have ones based on fishing. You have ones based on ecological help. You have ones based on art. You have ones based on academics. You even have technical ones as well. So there are so many different kinds of high schools. So you do get a lot of choice, but you can only take the test for one. And so you don't get a lot of chance. There are lots of students who will try and get into the top ones, but also there are lots of good students that will go for the lower ones because that guarantees them a place, essentially. Because if you're a good student and you choose to take the test for a lower school, you're like, I know I'm going to get in. I know I'm going to go to high school. Because even though high school is not compulsory, 95% of Japanese kids go to some form of high school. Because also, you cannot get in.
That's interesting because not only do you have a system in place that encourages specialization at an early age by encouraging you to go to a high school that's good at a specific role or field of expertise, but it doesn't really allow for a proper balance of skill levels for students, because you can, if you're really excelling in your education, go for a top level high school, but considering how big a risk it is to apply for a high school when you've got haven't got much of a safety net to fall back on if you fail, it does seem to encourage even students who could apply for a high school more reflective of their abilities to go for something a little lower
than they would want,
just to be safe. Yeah,
that's the kind of thing with Japan. A lot of the culture is to do with playing it safe,
which isn't great.
Particularly for the academic high schools. What this does, because students will fail the entrance exams just because schools only have a set amount of people who can be in each year.
Yeah, it's competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, my school only 150. You can get 150 students in each year. That's it. That's the cutoff point.
Which is why it's bad. It's kind of sad if a student that has more ability than is required for that school to take up a place for a student who might needs to go to that school instead.
Yeah,
that's their level.
It's difficult because you do have private schools, and that's kind of one of the only options if you don't get into a regular high school. Is you can pay it, but the tuition is essentially almost 2.5 times the tuition of a regular high school, and
that's a lot of money.
There's lots more fees. It's a lot of money. They are good. Like private schools, they're like the same around the world. They're renowned as being like good. If you're going to a private school, if you can get in, because they'll have their own test. If you can get in, you'll be able to likely get into university or keep on going. Like my school, only about half of the students go on to do some kind of university level course, and that's what my school does. It helps students do different things or apply for jobs.
So how do private high schools do tests then? Because I see they have them after the public high school tests at some point.
I would assume so. I really don't know. I only know 2 people who work for a private high school, and it's not in my city. There is one in this city, but private high schools are less likely to use like public, because I'm technically classed as a public servant. I work for the Board of Education. Private high schools employ their teachers directly.
Interesting.
Now, I'm not going to be the communist that you know I am, Thomas. I'm not going to be the Bernie bro that you indeed reveal me to be. However, this system does not help the poor, like, at all. Because if you're rich, you can take the risk to go to take the test for the academic high schools. You can take that risk, and if you don't get in, cool, you go to the private high school or you apply for the private high school. Because your only option if you want to go to high school and you fail that exam and you don't have the money is essentially to work and go to an evening high school, because those exist. I have some friends who work in them, and there's lots of people. They're 16, 17 years old. They are adults. They are working full-time jobs or multiple part-time jobs if you can get them, because the economy here is rubbish as well for that kind of thing. And then they go essentially in the evenings after an 8-hour shift to go to high school, and then they go to bed and then repeat the thing the next day.
How long are the classes in these evening schools?
A normal time. It's just shifted. Like imagine a 6-hour school day or a 7-hour school day shifted to start at about 3 in the afternoon.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's the same for cram schools, because cram schools, we don't really have them in the West. They're essentially like evening institutions that also have classes. So lots of students will go to those after doing club activities or something.
You double up how much time you're studying each day.
Essentially, yes. Lots of kids do homework there as well, and also if lots of Japanese parents who do work very long hours, it also seems to be partially a kind of childcare as well. But it's hard for the kids because they're working all the time, especially for the junior high schoolers, because they're essentially getting stressed of, I hope I can get into high school. I need to do well at cram school. I need to do well at this. Because Japanese school is stressful for the kids. They have so many tests and so many things. I don't envy them. It's hard throughout the world. I did not enjoy high school one bit in the UK, like at all.
Can't say I can't say I disagree with you on that one.
Like, no, the school is very nice. The people are very nice. It's not fun. And there are people who say it's the best part of your life. As someone who works in one, it's not. It's really not. High school can suck. It really can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, 100% on board with that.
Because also, I work at one. I see the kids who are having the great time. I see the ones who are having the suckiest days ever. I feel for them so much. It's because it's hard, and work is hard as well. But being an adult is actually kind of cool, and it's fun. Like me saying I'm an adult. I'm almost 23. I'm just like, yeah, I'm an adult. He says the main thing he did when he got home from work today was go to the toy store and buy a stuffed Eevee.
But you could do that now.
I can do that now.
No one can stop you.
And do you know what I'm going to do with that stuffed Eevee, Thomas?
I don't know. I can only imagine, John.
I'm going to staple it to one of my, so it looks like I have an Eevee on my shoulder.
Ah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Exactly. This is what you can do when you're an adult.
Yeah, it's a shame that people don't really embrace that part of being an adult, which is doing whatever you want. You've got to behave in some sort of arbitrary manner that makes everyone else feel comfortable.
Well, I'm going to buy my Eevees and buying rubbish from the store. If you want to eat cake for dinner, do that. Don't do it. Being old is you realizing when you're 23 is like, salad is I actually want salad. It's a terrifying transformation. I'm sorry, it will happen. No, there's nothing you can do about it. But one day, you will want a salad.
I've yet to reach that day, but that might be just because I'm a fat who knows.
Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, Japanese entrance exams, it's stressful for the kids. Be kind to them. Don't tease the Japanese children online.
Sounds like
bad enough it is.
Yeah, it sounds like all of junior high might be really stressful for them if their grades help them get into high school.
But then if they want to go to any kind of university thing, all their grades in senior high school then help them get through.
So that's like 6 years of constant testing and worrying about whether your grades are good enough, isn't it?
Yes, kind of. I will say, I don't know if it's the same for all schools. In my school, there's not one big test at the end of the year, which is very much a UK thing, where all your marks are relying on that one test at the end of the year. Japanese schools are much more. There is a midterm test, an end of term test, and then your end of the year mark, or your mark for the year, is the average of all those tests and all the assignments that you've had throughout the year. So you can slip up on one and make up for it on the next one. It's not unlike the exam to get into it. It's not if you have one bad day, then that's it.
It's still a pretty sucky system, though.
Yeah, it's pretty sucky, but I'm not. I don't know how to fix it, Thomas. Do you? I can just sit here in my kotatsu and complain, hugging my Eevee.
Maybe we should focus our education system more on actually encouraging children to learn and develop their skills rather than, I don't know, meeting some arbitrary requirements and putting an awful lot of strain on very small children.
Yeah, because the thing is, Thomas, they need to get into the workforce. What good is something if it doesn't prepare you for the workforce?
Oh boy, the workforce.
Education for the sake of education? What is it? How dare you study something like history or geography? That's not engineering. That is actually one of the serious problems that Japan is having at the moment, because the culture values medicine and technical things so much. They have a serious lack of people taking seriously humanities-based degrees. So Japanese studies history, geography, etc. Japan has a serious low level of these, so you end up with the roles that those people take in other countries aren't that well filled, which in the UK you might wonder, what do you do with a history degree? Huge amount of civil servants are history degrees, huge amount of bankers, huge amounts of people in high level positions. I'm just saying this because, of course, my history degree and Thomas's liberal arts degree is
Whoa.
the thing that they do is that people misunderstand about degrees like that is it's not the content you're learning, it's the skills you learn with it. And Japan is a country full of people with technical skills who know specific things and not people who know how to use those skills. That is slowly changing and that's good, but it's just like learn about foreign languages. Why? Because you can. Because it's good to be a well-rounded person. Oh. And that's the message for today, children. Now we can all go to sleep.
Follow your dreams, because at some point in life, society is going to crush you to try and conform to its expectations. So you might as well enjoy yourself whilst you still can.
Exactly. Do you know the Japanese phrase, Thomas? The tallest nail is the one that gets hammered down.
Doesn't it just sound like the lovely utopian society you all come to know and love?
Snack break. I'm getting depressed.
What have we got today, John?
It's pink, and it's kind of like two pancakes together. It's dorayaki.
Two American pancakes, I want to specify. It does not look like a British pancake in the slightest.
No. So this is a very famous Japanese thing, but I have a seasonal variant because I love my seasonal variants. So dorayaki is usually basically two pieces of like small pancakey kind of cake, usually around sweet anko, so red bean paste. However, what I have here is pink pancake because this is a Sakura dorayaki because spring has sprung. It is spring. It is Haru, as you'd say in Japanese. And
yes,
yeah, it's. I have a rather pink. We do actually have an Instagram now. Well, it's my personal Instagram, but adapted. You can find the Gaijin John on Instagram, and I will be uploading food pics from all the episodes beforehand, but also this one.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to upload these pictures?
Well, it doesn't look the best because it is just two pink pancakes with some white paste in between.
It's not the most edible looking snack you've sent pictures of before.
Yeah, like normal dorayaki does look pretty good. And so dorayaki is very famous here. Like Doraemon, the little kid's character, his favorite food is dorayaki, which, fun fact, in the English dub is called yummy buns.
Sorry.
Well, I have my yummy bun here, and it is Sakura flavored yummy bun.
Yep. Tell us more about the yummy buns, John.
The center almost smells coconutty again. I know I said this about like the Sakura stuff before, when I had Sakura Pocky, but essentially it's supposed to be Sakura is cherry blossom, so usually it has a light cherry flavor. Like that's what the Starbucks Frappuccino and stuff has. But I'm just gonna. There's only one way to find out.
Eat.
San ni ich itadakimasu. Now, Thomas, it looks terrible.
It does look pretty bad. But how does it taste?
It's actually really delicious.
Hey, that's good.
The pancake is kind of nice and fluffy, and the pancake it's more of a sandwich for the filling. And the filling, though it smelled coconutty, is kind of like quite light and creamy. So it's very much that anko texture.
Ooh.
It's quite sweet. It's very difficult to describe the texture of anko to someone who has never had it because it's smushed beans. It's smushed red beans. And so, especially as something sweet, it's a very individual texture. There's nothing really like it. But no, the thing with Sakura is a very delicate flavor.
It's not overwhelming you with cherry, is it?
No, God, no. No, it's just very... And the pancake is kind of nice and light and fluffy. The pancake essentially works as like a sandwich for the filling.
Yeah.
For something I bought for like 100 yen from my local supermarket. My local supermarket's good. They do like seasonal baked things and stuff like that. So these turn up all the time. But no, this is actually... It's really good. Sakura Dorayaki.
You're likely to have that again then?
Probably not, because I want to not just... Japan is the snacking capital of the world, and I want to stop just snacking all the time because Japan makes it so easy.
I mean, I'm going to force you to snack at least once a week just for this segment alone. So.
Oh God, why have you forsaken me? Yeah, Sakura Dorayaki. It's pink and it's delicious.
Marvelous.
Yeah, I give that a Doraemon out of 10, which, depending on your opinion of Doraemon, could be anything.
That's what we like here. It's vague and unintelligible rating systems.
Doraemon's the blue Japanese cat thing. You know. Google a picture of Doraemon, you'll know who he is. Maybe he'd like Sakura Pocky. Sakura Dorayaki. Who knows?
Most likely.
Most likely, it's his favorite food, and they are yummy. They are yummy buns. Oh yeah, he's a robotic cat, isn't he?
What? Why is he a robot?
Yeah, Doraemon's a robot.
Why is he a robot? Why was I not aware of this? Was I supposed...
How did you not know that Doraemon is a robot?
How was I supposed to know that Doraemon was a robot? Was I just supposed to find that out whilst talking about cherry-flavoured pancakes, John? Is that just how everyone finds out that this weird blue cat mascot is also a robot?
Well, the story revolves around an earless robotic cat named Doraemon who travels back in time from the 22nd century to aid a boy named Nobita Nobi.
What? What is going on? When did this happen?
Well, the original run started in 1969.
Christ, I've not been following up on my Doraemon lore, apparently. Which isn't surprising, because I don't really pay attention to cat mascots. But whatever.
Yeah, so this child is having an awful life because he's a Japanese child. As we've established. And so his future descendants send back a robotic cat to make his life better.
So it's like reverse Terminator is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much. This makes me want to read Doraemon now.
Wait, how did you find out about Doraemon if you haven't read the manga yet?
Because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now, Thomas.
How dare you? How dare you manipulate me like this?
I also was aware that Doraemon was a robot cat before this. Like,
how though?
I work in Japan with Japanese high schoolers.
That just casually comes up in conversation, does it?
Yeah, because Thomas, and take it from me, Doraemon is kawaii.
Yes, I'm sure he is. Okay. I can't unravel this madness right now. I don't know what to do with this information.
Think about it.
I may very well do that. That might be stuck in the back of my mind for quite some time.
So we have been talking for quite a long time, Thomas. Would you like to try and just take us through to the end?
Cycling back to our discussion on highly stressful high school situations. I finished up the Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun anime this season. This week. You might remember I was talking about this briefly, like 2 seasons ago when it came up in the autumn anime list of things, and I pointed it out because it had a very nice, colourful art style. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be fun to watch at the very least, and I would like to say that my assessment of it was correct. It's a comedy dressed up in like shonen's clothing. It's a combination of your standard high school comedy, some very typical shonen action tropes, and a sort of very Tim Burton-esque aesthetic if Tim Burton made Saturday morning cartoons.
I assume it's a boy goes to a high school for monsters.
It is exactly that. The
Japan.
basic premise is Iruma's parents sell him to a demon who wants to be his grandparent. And so part of that, a part of being a good grandparent for a child is obviously to send them to high school.
This is scarily relevant. Do go on.
So Iruma goes to a high school for demons, with the obvious problem being that he is a human. So not only is he incapable of doing any magic, which is kind of the central focus of going to a school for demons, but also humans are kind of like this legendary delicacy for demons. And the school hymn even includes lines about how all demons exist for is to eat humans. So obviously Iruma is under a lot of pressure not to stand out.
Because he's just this average, everyday high schooler.
Because if he's anything but that, the demons might figure out he's a human and eat him. Sadly...
How can you be normal and everyday in a demon high school?
Believe me, with the characters you're going to encounter in Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-Kun, you'll quickly understand that there is no normal amongst these people. There's a lot of very bright and colourful personalities. They're all very entertaining to watch, both on their own and interacting with one another. So yeah, basically the show centers around Iruma getting stuck in wacky hijinks because either through a combination of his friends or his grandparent, who is also the headmaster of the school, just to clarify, and is incredibly doting, so he wants everyone to know about his new grandson, whether that's beneficial to Iruma's safety or not. It does have some shonen tropes of also, Iruma getting used to the magic system of the school and developing his own signature traits and abilities with the help of some assistants.
Does he become the most magical boy of them all?
He's on a fast track to becoming one of the most magical boys of them all.
So essentially, it's the story of Neville Longbottom, is what I'm getting.
Not far off. Iruma is a lovely person. Yeah, Iruma's a lovely person who just wants to help his friends and have a good time.
Yeah.
And is constantly balancing his concerns about being discovered as a human with his own self-discovery and determination to grow as an individual from living with his friends.
And is there a demon girl he has a crush on?
Iruma is mostly oblivious to the attention of his female cohort. I should reverse that. Are there demon girls who are crushing on Iruma-kun? Yes. It's an interesting situation. I don't think Iruma-kun really has the same issues of a usual high school show with the weird harem-esque aspects of it. Most of it is played more for laughs than actual romantic drama, which is a lot of fun.
I will say about lots of Japanese kids they act much younger than they actually are in the West. Whereas in the West, it's much more like, oh yeah, I'm 16, I'm so grown up, I'm cool, I'm going out. It's like most kids, like in Japan, they still like being kids. They still like watching. They still like playing silly video games and watching stuff. They still like going out and doing stuff and get dressed up and things. But it's not so much oh my god, you're 16, you need a girlfriend, you need that kind of thing. It's just go play football with your friends, go do whatever. Yay.
Yeah, I think the main appeal of the show is really in the character-focused comedy of it all, because along with Iruma just sort of wildly flailing and being a good boy, he also has a couple of close friends in Asmodeus Alice and Clara Valak, and I think a lot of the make or break for this show is going to be how much you enjoy watching those characters interact, because you have Asmodeus, who's sort of it seems like he's supposed to be the straight man of the group in a certain way, until you realize he takes that an extra mile and is basically just like the super lawful foil to Clara's super chaotic
Oh dear.
craziness. Yeah, I think Clara's going to be the point of contention for a lot of people because she is. I'm going to be honest. I love Clara. She's a beautiful little gremlin who is just a constant source of humor for me. She's got a constant presence.
To put it in D&D terms, then you have the paladin and the rogue in the same party as the fighter. I'm calling Iruma-Kun the fighter here because he can do he can do a bit of everything. And you just have the paladin being super lawful, and the rogue's I'm gonna steal everything.
It is a party of lawful neutral, true neutral, and chaotic neutral, just bouncing off each other and doing really stupid stuff.
Iruma-Kun sounds like a good boy, though. Wouldn't he be good neutral?
Iruma-Kun is Blue Deku. I'm just going to point it out here for you.
Then he is good neutral. He is the goodest of boys.
He is actually, yeah, he is neutral good. He is best boy. And there's an assortment of best girls for you to sort through if you are looking for that as well. Mine is still Clara because she's just so lovable. She's such a dork, and I love her for it. But there's also a nice little bit of depth to the characters when there need be. It's not like mind-blowing or anything, but they do take the characters seriously when they need to, which is fun.
Yay. I
had a great time with that show.
What do you rate it out of 13?
Well, according to the numerical system of the Demon School, I have to rate everything in either 6, 66, or 666. I can't do anything other than that.
Okay.
So
that's clear. Also, Thomas, last question. Did you just watch this because Mother's Basement made a video on it?
Like I said, we talked about this 6 months ago. So I waited for like episode 20 to roll around, and then I started watching it because I figured I'd finish the 23rd episode would have aired by the time I'd got through all of them. The 23rd episode had not aired by the time I got through all of them. The 22nd one had just, so I had to wait a week for this last episode. But it was nice. It was a good wrap up to the season, the show, because it was just doing daily life stuff, actually. After what was a very long and very highly emotional arc at one point, it was nice to have a wind down and a little bit of setup for the next season, which will be coming out in, I think, spring 2021.
And that's the end of the show, everyone. Goodbye.
Yes, watch my Saturday morning cartoon demon show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds it. And also, be nice to all the women in your life and the high schoolers and just everyone. Be nice to everyone, even if they do have coronavirus.
Everyone's going through it right now. Just give them some time and some space.
Yeah, make sure you like us on the Facebook and the Twitter. We're Geeks and Gaijins on everything. We stream on Twitch at Geeks and Gaijins occasionally throughout the week. You can subscribe. Please leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Even our YouTube channel, which Thomas has some fun videos on as well.
Gonna have one coming out soon, I think.
Yay!
Which is going to be slightly relevant to some of the things we discussed today, with any luck.
Yay, relevance. That's
a little late, but still relevant.
Indeed. And, of course, the Instagram for all the food pics that will be coming up is the Gaijin John. Just search the Gaijin John. There's a picture of my stupid face and hopefully food. So that's all from us. That's a Madaraishi.
Wait, what? John, do you have a history podcast episode coming out this week as well?
Yes, it should have come out the day before. It is on the early history of Buddhism in Japan. It should be just before this thing in the podcast feed. So listen to that.
It's going to be released on time this week, I'm sure.
Oh yes. I have it edited in my hand right now. Like
you haven't lost it or anything. It's all there.
Look, it's in the MP. Look at the MP4 file, literally in my hand right now. The wonders of audio. I am just bear with me, Thomas. I need to push it into my computer. Damn, the keyboard's in the way. Bear with me. I'll go get a screwdriver.
What? No, that's not necessary. John.
I got it. Madaraishi, everyone. Arigato gozaimashita for listening. Bye. Now, where's the screws in this thing?
John.